Welcome to the Molly Academy webinar and workshop. Definitely appreciate you guys joining us here on the call. Give me a couple seconds to get this presentation here pulled up for you as we go through it. Like I said, the big thing is we want to be able to show you is what we've used in really leveraging current technology, along with technology that's been around for 157 years. And we'll get into those type of details here in a bit. The big thing at the end of it is that you should be able to take some of this and really implement it and be able to put it into place for you and your company. As we go through this, if you have any questions, feel free to ask them as we kind of go through. We'll try to address the type of questions that you might have at the very end of it. The big thing, my name is Steve Molly. I've owned an agency here based in the Midwest for the past 11 years. And we'll talk about clients that we've worked with, industries we've worked with, and all that type of stuff as well. Overall, I've led a lot of trainings all across the Midwest and really on the coast. And so we've got a pretty good sample size of people's needs and different demographics and really how that changes, not just from coast to coast in the Midwest, but almost county to county in some areas that we're doing a lot of work in. So we've definitely helped teach people this whole time. That's one of the big passions for myself is being able to teach people. And one of the things that people have called me in the past is kind of that marketing guy next door. It's one of those things we just really try to help people out. The big thing is, and my creative director jokes about it, but it feels like the times that I live in a bit of a sorority house. I have two daughters. My wife also have a female dog, and so it definitely keeps things entertaining from time to time. But it's a little bit on the personal side of it. Marcus Tews will probably be joining us here in a little bit. He's my partner on the Molly Academy side. On the Molly Academy side, that we've worked together, it's probably going back 13, 14 years now at this point. We're experiencing actually a pretty big storm here in Nebraska right now. And so he had to go take care of a couple of issues while the storm is kind of passing through. So ideally, he can kind of help come in here a little bit and help kind of facilitate some of this as well. So you don't just have to listen to me kind of go through this. With Marcus, I used to work for Marcus, like I said, 12, 13 years ago. And during that point in time is that he asked if I can go and help him expand into a new market. The new market for him was in South Dakota. And so I was young at that time. He asked if I wanted to expand, and any young person's like, oh yeah, I could do that. That sounds good to me. Well, it's one of those things that looking back on it, we put together some of the systems for him that we'll be sharing with you. And with those systems is that it's helped his company, his software company that he led for many years. And then it helped them become the standard bearer in the Midwest. But also just directly through that campaign, he ended up producing millions of dollars in additional revenue. And he's been able to get out of that software business now, and now he really leads real estate and aviation companies and does a lot of different mentoring to different startups and business owners and things like that, really through the Midwest. He's from England. He came over here to the States probably 18, 19 years ago now. We always joke his accent is fake. Women always absolutely loved it, and so it was always pretty entertaining on that side of it. But like I said, ideally, you can join us here in a little bit. He's just running a little late because of the storms. So what I want to do, I want to be able to dive into this a little bit. The big thing is with current marketing results, I want to be able to take a look at current marketing results that a lot of you might be experiencing now. And obviously, how can we expand on that? What can you do starting this afternoon, starting tomorrow, to really help you expand on getting you a better reach on your marketing results? And so taking a look at that is that the average marketing result is about 3%. 3%, and I've spoken to crowds of 500 people before. If I ask a crowd, hey, who right now is in the market for a desk or a car or furniture or whatever it may be, roughly speaking, about 3% of hands will go up. About 3% of the time, anybody in the marketplace is in the market to buy a certain good. So 3% is average. A lot of big companies, Fortune 500 companies like that, if they can get a return on their marketing of 6 to 8% conversion rates, they get pretty ecstatic. Now, what I want to teach you, and I'll show you, and I'll give you the exact steps of this, is that we've been able to get upwards of 30% conversion rates on our marketing programs. And we'll show you exactly what we do. So again, you can implement that related to today. The big thing is we want to teach you how to maximize sales with a 157-year-old marketing technique. Again, we didn't invent this. We haven't been around that long. It's one of those things that's been tried and true through the years. Every Fortune 500 company uses it, from Nike to McDonald's to Apple to Porsche. They use it on a daily basis, on a weekly basis. They use it day in and day out. We personally, company-wise, we've spent over $1 million in testing this method. And so it's verified. It's not just something that, hey, we've tried out. Hey, this sounds really cool. We can leverage this. We've literally spent over $1 million in testing to showcase this. And again, most companies are thrilled to remain at a 3 to 6% level ROI, and I want to be able to show you how to really expand on top of that. So to give you an idea, the type of companies that we work with, and I know that we have some eye doctors and some chiropractors on here as well as audiologists. We've worked in all kinds of industries, from automotive repair to accountants to chiropractors, consultants, engineers, hospitals, real estate, transportation, all kinds of different industries, and it's really worked out well in each one of those industries. So it's not just one of those things that it works out just well in a very specific one, it works out really well across the board. In our target markets, I mean, they're general families. It could be a mom, it could be a dad, it could be a single individual, or it could be CEOs, CPAs, high-end car owners. We did some things for NFL coaches with the system a few years back, small business owners. I mean, anything and everything in between. We've gone through the different target markets, and we've been able to reach those target markets through this technique and be able to get some really fantastic results through that as well. So the next part that I want to be able to do is kind of my promise to you. So it's really three things. One is at the end of this, you'll know how to properly use this 157-year-old technique. We'll get into the details of that so you can really walk away with it. Two is you also know how to leverage old media with new media. And that's the thing, especially on the agency side. Things are always changing with today's online world. There's always new apps coming up, new social media sites, all that type of stuff. So how do you stay on top of it? How do you leverage people's current habits with those habits they established, again, 157 years ago? So at the end of this, you also know how to use a system that we get 8 to 10 times the typical results on. So remember with this, especially, it's not necessarily your fault. In marketing, and again, with me being head of an ad agency, we have to stay on top of this day in and day out because things change so fast. Many people remember doing fax blasts back in the day, and then they moved on to telemarketing. Then they did some direct mail. AOL really exploded over direct mail, and then go ahead and send out those free CDs that you had to plug into your computer to even get on the internet, which is pretty crazy thinking about it back then. Especially when you can see the American Online case on the screenshot there. It's 1,000 hours free, which is kind of interesting. But then people talk about SEO, search engine optimization. They move on to MySpace, kind of first big social media channel. Then take a look at Facebook. The big thing is things shift so fast, and it's not necessarily your job to stay on top of all those shifts because, generally speaking, most people on here, their job is to take care of patients, take care of clients, some front end work, things along those lines. And so we want to be able to show you how to really still do what you need to do and just implement this and be able to really take off with it. So the big thing is, I've been there. Everyone you talk to is a marketing genius. I run into it all the time. I don't care if it's a neighbor down the street that's never spent a day in marketing, or a sibling or a parent or a mentor or somebody. Everybody feels that they have a good grasp on marketing, which is always interesting. The funny thing is when we've gone through like live workshops, when we've gone hand in hand working with people live on this stuff, is that people said, all right, well, I might have tried components of this. Well, they haven't tried the whole thing. And the big thing is no one is consistent in the process. And not just this process, but generally speaking in marketing overall when it comes to small businesses. Because the thing on the small business side, again, we have so many different things that are going on, is that it's easy to kind of put this quote unquote on the back burner. The biggest downfall in life overall is also the lack of consistency. And again, we want to be able to show you how to take the system and just make sure it's consistent. It's not going to take you a whole lot of extra time or really any extra time, and we'll show you how. So the big thing is I want to make sure you have some aha moments at the end of it. Jot down some of those aha moments as we really go through it. Some of those things you can implement today. Now, with any type of workshop, any type of conference you go to, ideally, if it's worth its grain of salt, you'll get some great ideas. Maybe it's 7, maybe it's 12, maybe it's 50 great ideas, whatever that number is. But if you go back to your desk and you try to start implementing some of this, you look at that list of 20 and it becomes overwhelming. So what I want you to do at the end of this is think of 3 or 4 things. Just 3 or 4 things that you can take, you can start implementing here quickly, and then come back down the line and do another 3 or 4 things. It's much more manageable that way, and it's going to be easier for you to be able to get the results at the end of the day. So before I go into exactly what we're doing here, what I want you to do is turn off your phone, put it on mute, kind of get off Facebook. Obviously I know that's a huge distraction a lot of times. Turn off any type of notifications you might have, so that way we have your focus. Our promise is not to take any more than, really most of the times, it's about 15 minutes going through this process. And so if you can hang out with us until shortly before 11 o'clock Central, fantastic. So the thing I want to hit home on first, and I know this isn't the best picture, but it's the best one that we had available, is we're not talking drastic changes here. You don't have to revamp your marketing. Chances are you're probably doing part of this already and just making some tweaks that we're already doing. Mary Pat, she was 64 and a half years old. She was actually a government employee. She was very, very, very clear that she had 6 months until retirement and she didn't want to learn anything new. Well, the cool thing is we're able to show her this, in a pretty quick manner. And she came back and she's like, well, okay, I'm already doing most of this, so it's just making a couple of tweaks. And that's exactly what it is. It really is just a couple of tweaks. And like I said, in a short amount of time, she really kind of changed her whole mindset to be able to grab a hold of this, which is cool. And again, I'm not just picking on her. I've talked to her about this before, using her as an example, and she's very open to it. Because she was. Going into it, she was very closed-minded. I don't want to learn anything new. I have 6 months left, and that's it. And I'm retiring. I'm escaping. And she was able to take this and really get some fantastic results. So with that being said, you're close. Chances are you're probably about 90% of the way there. The big thing is being able to show you that additional 10%. That additional 10% many times makes all the matter in the world. It's just a matter of degrees. So I want to be able to show you that extra 10%. So again, you can implement it starting here this afternoon. So let's kick off. Let's really kind of get our starts at the beginning of the whole process. Again, my name is Steve Molly. On the national speaking side of it, I've spoken at regional and national stages on a regular basis. Here about a year and a half ago, voted a top speaker at a national conference. But one of the big thing is when I'm on the speaking tour is this form of marketing dead? Almost none. It doesn't fail. I don't care if I'm talking to entrepreneurs, small business owners, if I'm talking only digital marketing, whatever it may be, is this form of marketing dead? And I want to be able to prove to you that no, it's not. And so the companies that we've consulted for, and again, that we've personally done work on and tested this stuff on, Fortune 500 company like Mutual of Omaha, University of Nebraska, State of Nebraska, NASCAR, small business owners, regional events, tourism entities, national franchises. Again, we've done it over and over and over again. So it's not just, hey, we've learned this, we read this looks really cool, we tested and verified, and we can really show you the results on it. So at the beginning, I've been in your shoes. I was fired. Back in 2008, I went to work for a bank. Well, a client of ours was a bank. And with that, that's where I really learned the process. So with this bank, they provided us zip codes of a direct mail piece that they wanted to go. So that 157-year-old technique we're talking about is direct mail. So the bank provided us zip codes, they provided us the incentive, and they provided us the overall design, the concept behind the design. And so they hired us to really kind of pull it together. So basically what we did was more or less just lay out for them. Going into it, my gut was telling me, I've learned since, my gut was telling me, we're missing something, we should actually be more consulting, more strategy on this, instead of just relying on the zip codes, relying on their incentive, relying on their overall design. But, I was younger, so I'm like, all right, we'll go and do it. It's 2008. The economy wasn't the greatest at that point in time. There was some good cash. So I'm like, all right, we'll go and implement. Well, we sent out 20,000 postcards. And 20,000 postcards later, we got 3 people to respond. 3 people. That's a 0.015% ROI. Needless to say, they were not impressed. They let us go. They fired us pretty quickly after that one direct mail piece. And this isn't, like I said, in 2008, this is about March of 2008. In May 2008, when the economy really collapsed a lot, is that our revenue got cut by over 40%. It was almost overnight. One of the top things a lot of small business owners did was cut back on their marketing expenses. I'm biased. I'm in marketing, but I'm a big believer that should be one of the last things you do. It's almost like, the analogy of filling up your car with gas, but then only putting in half a tank of gas, but expecting it to go just as far. With that being said, 2008 hit, we were let go. I had a lot of time to think, a lot of extra time on my hands I didn't really plan on having originally. But what that did, that drove me to really focus on our group. Focus what we need to do direct mail-wise and just marketing-wise to really get this to explode, to really get this to pick up a ton. So on the direct mail side of it, I had to really kind of concentrate. How can we take a 157-year-old proven technique and really apply that to today's digital world? And so that became my why, and that became my complete focus. So with that and that focus, that's how I learned to go from 0.015% ROI to 30% ROI, where you literally get better results in Fortune 500 companies. And many times, and I'll show you this here probably the next 5 minutes, how you can get those results by spending less money than you got right now. which most small business owners or marketing people, their ears perk up and how you get more results for less. But I'll show it to you. It's not just a bunch of crap that I'm trying to feed you. I'll show you exactly what we end up doing there. So what the focus is, and we require this for our clients, and I require this for you as well. Focus on the results. The results are the most important thing for you today. Focus on the results that we can get. I'm going to show you the process. I want you to write down the process. I want you to be able to start going through the process, but focus on the results and focus really on what makes you money at the end of the day. Don't try to micromanage. We've taught this in live workshops before, and at times with those people who try to micromanage, they change it way too much, or at the end of the day, it's a completely diluted system and it flat out doesn't work. Also focus on what you know. And most of you on this workshop know patient care. They know the operations of the business, the business that you represent. Allow us to be able to show you the results on the marketing side of it and show you this path. So again, open mind plus focus equals the killer results, and we'll be able to dive into that actually starting right now. Let's kind of kick off and go into what our solution is really overall. What we call this solution is a direct mail to digital system. It's leveraging the 157-year-old marketing technique. So there's four different steps to this whole thing, and we'll be able to detail out the steps. One is micro-targeting your audience, is knowing exactly who you want to go after, not zip codes, but exactly who you want to go after. Surround them, be absolutely everywhere they are. They say in marketing that it takes 5 to 7 different touch points for somebody or for you to be able to build up credibility with somebody. Actually, how the world is shifting and how things are moving, that's going on. You're looking at almost 7 to 9 different touch points. So surround them, be where they are consistently. Offer value throughout the way and really be consistent. And I can't harp on the consistency side enough, because that's the biggest downfall when it comes to a lot of individuals and a lot of companies, is they're just simply not consistent in what they do. So old habits. For many of you that have done direct mail pieces in the past, you understand this. You've gone to a list broker. You purchase a list, and you purchase, hey, I want to hit this zip code, and I want to hit this zip code in your town, in your area. You have a printer that is the design work, because your rationale behind that is, hey, printers print all the time. They can do design. They can do design, and some printers can do some pretty solid designs. They just don't necessarily have the strategy behind it. So you send out a typical letter, or you send out a typical 4x6 postcard, 3x5 postcard that's about the same as everybody else. A lot of times, call to action is too soft or too murky. In a lot of businesses, just wait for the business to roll in. We send this out to 10,000 people, 20,000 people, 50,000 people. We should get a huge response. I'm just going to wait by this phone or my email for the response to really start rolling in. So that's the old habits. That's the old way. And obviously, if you continue to do even 1 or 2 components of this, you'll continue to get the same results you're getting. What we want you to do, and we'll get into each one of these individually, we want you to think small. We're going to talk about best buyers. We'll cover that here briefly, but think small, not zip code based, but literally house by house by house based. Leverage new technologies. I was at a conference here about a year ago, and they said the awesome thing about new technologies is that it surrounds us, and it can help us out a ton. The downside is there's still only 24 hours in the day. There's still only so much we can do. So we'll show you how to leverage some new technologies. Update your old methods. Now this goes back to where you're probably doing some of this stuff now. It's just simply making a change, making a tweak. So we're not talking about you spending a bunch more time. We're still talking about you just making some tweaks and adjusting your time. And again, consistency. The thing is, following this direct mail to digital system, we know the exact ROI each time, and we'll tell you how. It's surprisingly pretty simple, and I think you'll be able to understand that once we get into it. So let's break down exactly what we do to get 10 times the results of the typical mail campaigns. First thing, the audience. This is the most important part of it. You got to get to know them intimately. What we call them is the best buyers. Get to know your best buyers. Again, it's not just a zip code. What you want to be able to target, you want to be able to define your best buyers. You want to be able to target on the left-hand side of the screen, you see a family. It's not targeting a family, it's targeting a mother who, roughly speaking, is between the ages of 30 to 45 with a couple of kids, who live in a certain part of town, certain part of the state, whatever that qualification may be, that has a certain threshold when it comes to income levels, education, buying habits. That's who you want to target. Not the family as a whole, not Mr. and Mrs. Smith. You really want to target Jenny Smith in this case. Or on the right-hand side, if it's a business. It's not just to a business. It's not just the ABC company, Inc. type of thing. You want to be able to target one individual inside of that business. Now, the thing is, keep in mind about this, is we've targeted individuals, we've targeted businesses. People come back to us, well, I don't know, if I can do a business-to-business type of thing. And our aspect on that is it's complete BS. Is you absolutely can do business-to-business because who you're selling to on the business side is a person. It's another human being. It's not this mythical creature that just lives out there. It is another human being. And you simply just have to touch that other human being to get going. So on the best buyer profiles, this is what we do with the best buyer profiles. We take our clients and our best clients and break it down. We want to look at their backgrounds. We want to look at their demographics. We want to look at their identifiers, their lifestyles, what their beliefs are, and what their challenges are. So we want to be able to take a look at each one of those itself. So I want to take you through an example of this. And now we do have an example that we can give you. It's a template that we have set up at the very end of this. We can give you that you can follow through to build out your own best buyer profiles. When we've done live workshops of this, it might take an hour. It might take an hour and a half. But once you have it done, and you're farther than probably 90% of the other small business people out there because they simply don't take enough time. So what I want to be able to do on this example is that we were able to take a look at the absolute best buyers we have. And in our example for this, it was a female. She was, again, between the ages of 30 to 40, and she controls 78% of all spend in her family. That's who we wanted to target. So once we understood that, hey, it's a female, and because she's the one that controls the spend inside the family, we're able to dive a lot deeper. So let me show you some examples. I'll show you these examples, and again, we have a template that we can give you at the very end of this as well to go through it. The big thing background-wise is, like I said, we want to chunk it down. We want to look at her background, her demographics, and her identifiers. Her background. Now, this photo we took, we grabbed because we knew that she was 32 years old. Our average age in that best buyer was 32. So we found a Google image of somebody that was 32 that's a female. We gave her a name. In this case, it's Heather Clark. The reason is we want to be able to identify with her. We intimately. If she's walking down the street, we want to be able to see her, like, you know what, that's a best buyer. Or if somebody else is walking down the street that's not a best buyer, then we know that right off the bat. So some background. She grew up outside of Lincoln, moved to Lincoln for school and fell in love, currently works at a law firm. Basically what that means is that she came into this community from somewhere else, and she's at a white-collar job. Demographics, female, 32 years old. Again, female because she controls the spend, 32 because that's the average age really we were going after. Married with 2 kids, raising 2 kids by the age of 32 in the demographics where we're at, who we're targeting, they generally have about 2 kids. Household income of $58,000. That's a little bit above the average. And so we're not going after somebody with a ton of extra money, but a little bit above average. Identifiers. Like any mom that's 32 with a couple of kids, she's trying to balance family and work life. She also loves being identified with her family, but she also kind of still yearns for her younger years. And again, doesn't have a lot of discretionary income, but likes being spontaneous. And so you can see as you start going through this exactly how you can pull these details out and how you can start identifying with these people. Now, there's a couple ways to get these details. There are some websites that we've referenced in the past. If you Google Claritas best buyers, Claritas buyer segments, if you Google that, you'll be able to pull into some fantastic information. So that's one great way to collect some info. Obviously, another great way is to talk to your clients. There's 2 great ways for you to be able to pull this out client-wise for people. Is that I know when we've done this in the past, it kind of gives people nice warm fuzzies inside when we've gone to do client interviews. They love it. It shows that you actually care about them and care about the clients. Now, Marcus was able to join us. I told you that we have a storm going on right now, and it's late by a couple of minutes. But this is one thing that we did for his software company a few years back. And if you want to talk about some of the results on the survey, when we were talking to clients, kind of what it meant to them and what it meant to you guys at the end of the day.
Yeah, hey guys, probably the biggest reaction we got from the survey was, hey, thanks for calling, glad to hear from you. We love knowing that you're thinking about us. The survey results came back great anyway because we always did a top-notch job of looking after folks. But it wasn't so much about giving them an opportunity to complain. And we got a couple of folks that we had to take care of. They had something that was on their minds they wanted to take care of it for them. That's fine. But for the most part, the feedback was, hey, thanks for thinking about us. Thanks for getting in touch. And that just generated just some of that kind of intangible, kind of warm and fuzzy kind of feeling that you want to generate, with your clients. So yeah, it worked out great.
Cool. And again, so to be able to feel free to reach out to some of the current clients you have and collect some of this information. We want to dive a little deeper into it. Lifestyle. Because we know that she makes a little bit more household-wise than the typical family, we know that she doesn't necessarily live paycheck to paycheck, but doesn't have a ton of extra spending money. At the age of 32, and again, this is based in Nebraska, is that they still live in the first houses they bought, but they know in the next couple of years they'll be moving up. The average age of move up for the second house is 35 or 34 to 36. And again, being a mom, quite busy, sick kids, doctor's appointments, after school programs, everything that goes into just being a mom. Some beliefs, and we got some of this through those client interviews that we had, is that at times she feels kind of forgotten, and it feels that it's her role to reunite the relationship with her husband. Is sometimes semi-jealous of her friends without kids and the perceived freedoms they have. They just completely love their husband and understands how important it is to facilitate. So you can see the impact this can make on your business from the get-go, and being able to just dive deeper into the best buyer segments. Now, we're kind of going through this because, again, our promise was to keep this within 50 to 55 minutes. But you can see, again, the impact that this can make. And if you ask us for the free template, we'll be able to get you the free template at the end of this as well. So at the end, what we do is we take a look at challenges. What are some of those challenges we have marketing to her to get her to convince her to do what she needs to do? In this case, it would be able to take a small little trip out of town. It's convincing her that she needs more than a few hours away, that she needs a break. But it also shows her fun different events she can't experience locally, and breaking through to understand that she deserves an escape. And one of the big things with that word deserves, it's a huge keyword. If you use the term deserve in a lot of your advertisements, and we've done this really across the board, is that people can resonate with that. Because what they're reading this, they're going through this, like, you know what, I do deserve. I've busted my ass. I've done what I need to do. I do deserve, and I don't care if it's a car, if it's a house, if it's take care of my kids, if it's a vacation, whatever it may be, but you do deserve these other things. So some quotes we pull from her. With kids, work, after school activities, everything else, it's easy to forget about us. I miss us. And also, I'd like to escape for the weekend, however, I don't want to be too far away from my kids in case something happens. Perfect. That leads us directly into our marketing message. Now, this isn't exactly what we're going to say, but it gives you a pretty good premise of what we're going to say. She deserves an escape. While it's only 45 minutes away, it's far enough to reconnect and close enough to run home if need be. Rekindle that fire and passion in the relationship, and there are plenty of options to experience, and the big thing is simply getting back to just being us. So you can see how this really starts to break down and the impact. So again, we're condensing this into a pretty short component, but this best buyer, this is the foundation. This is where everything else starts. You get to know these people on an intimate level. So again, right off the bat, you're not buying a zip code based list. You're buying a base list off of 30 to 40-year-old females with families that live in certain parts of town that share some of these other characteristics. And so that right there will save you quite a bit of cash. And just so we're clear, so we're very open, a lot of times list brokers will charge you $600, $800, to even $1,000 to buy a list. We can share with you a place that we go to buy our list, and it costs us roughly $150 to $200. But the thing is, once you have that list, you have it, and you'll be able to target people on that again and again and again and again and again. So that's the big thing behind best buyer profiles. And I don't care if it's through this direct mail, the digital system, if it's through any other marketing piece, but that's my challenge to you, is making sure you fully understand that. You spend 60 minutes of your time. We're literally talking about 60 minutes out of an entire week, being able to plan that out. So once you have it, that's that foundation. So let's move on to the next part. The next part that we define for our clients before we actually do the direct mail piece, what's the lifetime value of it? This also helps us determine exactly who we need to go after. On the lifetime value of it, 20% of current clients make up 80% of your revenue. 20% of clients make up 80% of your profits. So you want to target those 20% that make the biggest impact on this. Even in Marcus's case, you worked in the government sector for a long time. And inside the government, you have numerous departments, numerous heads, numerous, whatever you want to call it, employees. You broke down to how many best buyers in your case? How many people did you really go after?
Well, what we would do is instead of looking at a county as an entire county, for example, we take county government, we had different products that would target those different departments. So, we would end up in an average sized county in the Midwest with, 15 potential purchasers rather than just a county. and looking at it as one client, and that basically multiplied our lifetime value by potentially by 15 or 1,500 departments. So.
And it's one of those things for small businesses. Your budget is set. Maybe you're going to spend $1,000 on marketing this year. Maybe it's 10,000. Maybe it's 50,000. Whatever that number is, you're going to spend. That budget is fairly well set. I'd rather target, in Marcus's case, 15 people with a budget of $5,000 than try to target literally 1,000 people with a budget of $5,000. So that really allows you to, again, potentially be spending less money at the end of the day, but get a lot greater results. So what we take a look at lifetime value is how many times will they buy from you in the next 3 years? How many times will they be coming in? If it's a dentist, in theory, they come in twice a year. Let's just say, make math easy. Let's say they come in twice a year. They spend $100 with you each time. That means it's $200 a year. Take that times 3. That's $600. So average client for a dentist, value-wise, is $600. Again, that number isn't accurate. I fully understand that, but it gives you an idea, a quick little analogy on that. It's $600. Well, for the $600 is if we spend $60 to get that person in, you take a look at it, it's a 10-to-1 return. People can live with a 10-to-1 return. 10-to-1 return is obviously a pretty solid number on that. You're not looking at simply just that transaction you spend on day number 1. You're looking over the next 3 years. We all know it is 4 to 5 times cheaper to get a current client back through your doors again than it is to try to find a brand new person. That's why we got to concentrate on lifetime value as you go through these people. Plus, if you take a look at lifetime values, and we've done this internally with our own companies, is that you take a look at that, who you think might be the most profitable right now might just be the most profitable short-term wise. Over the next 3 years, they fizzle out for whatever reason. Who can we get into right now? Again, if it's a dentist, if it's a chiropractor, if it's an eye doctor, it's the females that drive that. It's the females that really drive it through their insurance or individual spend. They can also influence the family where they're coming in. So if you take a look at a mother of 2 on the dentist side of it, it's a mother of 2. So there's 3 people there plus the husband potentially. They can be coming into the dentist office. So it's not just that one individual. It's not just that 32-year-old female. It's who else that she influences. So let's say that the mom comes in, brings her 2 kids in, and we've already multiplied that by 3. So now it's an $1,800 lifetime value because you got 3 people, not just 1 person. So that's what I'm talking about, understanding the lifetime value from the very get-go, because that drives your decision-making process down the road. So an example of this is a daycare center. We did some work with, or we still continue to do work with them to this day. It's a daycare center that they own 2 of them here in the Midwest. And she understands lifetime value. It's one of those things that she understands once somebody sends their kids to her daycare center, that child will be there for 2.5 years. Within 2.5 years, then they graduate to go on to kindergarten, the family moves, job changes, whatever happens, but it's 2.5 years is how long the average kid's with her. In that time, her revenue for that one child was $18,000. So she knows the day that they come in to sign up for a contract over the next 2.5 years, that equals out to $18,000. So that really drives some of her marketing. What we did for her is we put together this campaign. And we said, hey, if you bring your child into this daycare center, we'll supply free diapers for an entire year. While your child is at this daycare center, we'll make sure they have diapers. You don't have to bring them in. You don't have to worry about them running out or running out. We'll have diapers here for them. And moms absolutely love it. Moms thought it was fantastic. It's not that hassle point anymore. They just thought it was great. Well, from the daycare side of it, they understood for them to go ahead and put diapers on a child for an entire year, her hard cost on that was $256. She was more than happy to give away $256 worth, the service product in order to get $18,000 back in. So that's the impact of lifetime value. Once you fully understand that, it becomes that much easier to be able to gauge your marketing, gauge your incentives, and gauge what really truly is a success at the end of the day. So after we move on from the best buyers and understanding that, and moving on from the return on investment and defining exactly that lifetime value, take a look at the direct mail pieces. Now, this is what we do. This is what we've been proven again and again and again and again. The first direct mail piece that we did, it's kind of a higher impact piece. It's something that's a little bit different. It's going to stick out. It's not a letter. It's not just a postcard. You can see an example up above. There's actually hair, fake hair attached to this direct mail piece that people would get. So it's something just completely different. We've seen it before. People put inside of a box, like a UPS box, they put together promotional goods. They put together, sales kits, folders, whatever it may be. But when somebody gets a box delivered to their home or to their office, you automatically want to open it up. You automatically want to be able to see it. I know on the promotional side of things, is we've even done this before, is that we'll be able to put a pen in a letter. Once they receive that pen in the mail, they know it's a pen. They absolutely know it's a pen. But human curiosity is they want to check it out. They want to see what that pen is all about. I know you said last week that just happened to you, 2 weeks ago at this point in time?
Yeah, actually, the other day I got a marketing piece and had a free stamp in there. No, I don't need a free stamp. I got stamps.
You could afford 34 cents or whatever.
48 cents. But I still owned it and I still took the stamp and I looked through the stuff. But yeah, I got a pen, everybody gets those pen packages. I opened right up. Added to my collection of 6,000 pens. And, enjoy those 3 seconds of opening the envelope and getting it out.
Exactly. And the thing is, it doesn't have to be, when I say high end, it doesn't have to be expensive. I mean, you can buy pens as low as in bulk, 30 cents. That stamp costs, 48 cents. But it's still, they open that up, they interact with you, they're able to see you, and be able to see your brand and your messaging a little bit. So that's the very first piece. That's the very first piece to you. And when you do this whole process, it's 4 direct mail pieces. When you do this whole process, you have to stagger it over the average buy-in cycle. If your average buy-in cycle, let's just say on the dentist side of it, or the eye doctor. Dentist, they're supposed to come in twice a year. Eye doctor, once a year. Is it stagger this over that average buy-in cycle? So the very first one, we'll just go back to the dentist, is that, they get one on day number 1. We've done this in the past. I'll give an example of actually a case study here down the bit. Day number 1, they get a nice high-end piece. And then the next 2 pieces you send out, again, are staggered over whatever your buying cycle is. Are going to be oversized postcards. Oversized postcards, 6 by 9, and you can get also 10 by 18. It gets kind of folded, a little bit goofy on that. But it's just oversized postcards. What those are is just more top of mind awareness. Oh yeah, that's right. Here's that brand. Here's that company again. It's just more of an awareness piece overall. With postcards, the nice thing is they don't have to open up anything. They literally go front and back. Even if they toss it within 10, 15, 30 seconds, you're still right there in front of them. It's still that drip marketing piece that's there. The last piece needs to be another high-end piece with the strongest call to action. Again, another high-end, I don't care if it's a pen, another promotional product, if it's a box of goods that you send off to somebody. When I say a box of goods, we have one client that outside of the postage, I think the postage costs like $2.40 per person. The material that goes inside that box is about $1.50 worth of material. So it doesn't have to be real, expensive. Now, if you have a bigger budget, great. But the whole goal of this is that last piece, make sure it sticks out. Make sure it's a different fold, a different look, a little bit of a different size, whatever it takes. Just make sure it's a little bit different. So again, you want to stagger those 4 direct mail pieces out throughout a whole buying cycle. The mistake a lot of companies make is they'll do 1 direct mail piece. You can't do 1 direct mail piece and expect great results. It flat out just does not happen. If it does happen, it's the unicorn. It's not common. It doesn't happen. You have to be consistent. And we've gone through it between 2 to 3 to 4 to 6 mail pieces. 4 tends to be that magic number. Be consistent with the 4 direct mail pieces that go out, and make sure you have a system. High end, 2 oversized postcards, high end. That's the system. That's what you need to be taking a look at. So if you want to talk about call to actions, you have numerous calls to actions. Think about your sales funnel. What does it take for somebody to get into your sales funnel? The goal at the end of the day, obviously, is for them to go ahead and book a sale with you. However, the job of marketing is to get them in the door. It's your job to sell. It's your job to close them. So is it drive traffic to your website? Is it create phone calls, download a white paper? Is it schedule an appointment, email a request, bring in a coupon, enter into a follow-up sequence? What is that exact call to action? Figure that out, and that helps define what your ROI is really going to be at the end of the day. So ideally, as we go through this, again, you can really see how this can impact your business of being able to focus on your buyers, know exactly what the lifetime value is, so that helps set your budget. You know exactly what you need to be spending to get these people in the door. And to be able to put together a system like this. Like I said, it's not just direct mail. When we talk about direct mail, the digital workshop, and that's what this is. And so we want to be able to cover the digital aspect of it as well. But before we move into that, let me give you some additional tips on maximizing your direct mail efforts. Use handwriting whenever you can. Whenever you can. Most of the time when I'm talking in front of crowds, I'll have people raise their hand. When's the last time they received anything handwritten in the mail besides their birthday or besides a holiday like Christmas? The holiday seasons. Maybe out of 100 people, we might have 5 or 6 hands go up that say they've received something outside of that time period. So use handwriting. I don't care if it's a thank you note that you have kind of put together. We've done it on the back of postcards. Just leave a blank spot and just do a real quick note on the back of the postcard. Those type of things help out a ton, but use handwriting. Insert promotional products. We talked about that with pens. Marcus is an example of the stamp as well. Exceed every value expectation. So when you're sending this out, and this is a whole other workshop that we can talk about just for an hour, is make sure is that you actually give them some value. Not just look at me, I'm great, I'm amazing, buy from me, we have the best product, we have the best service, the best whatever. Is that look at that value. What can you teach them about your industry? What can you teach them about your products, your services? What kind of value can you give them? And we'll give you examples here shortly. Also use forms inside of mailpieces. So instead of every mailpiece sounding exactly the same, talk about, hey, Jenny. Jenny is a little form that they put in for the first name. You can find out people's birthdays pretty easily. Put their birthday in there, or put their address in there, or put their neighborhood name in there. Put, maybe their school district. Put something inside of there that continues to customize this so they understand that, hey, it's going directly to them. They know it's a mass mailing. Obviously, we're not dumb enough to quote-unquote trick these people. But at the same time, once you get personalized, the results are just absolutely huge. So the next thing we want to take a look at now, how do we leverage this with current technologies? It's the direct mail and digital workshop. Here's the digital aspect of it, is that Facebook is one of the biggest players out there today. Worldwide, it's like 1.3 billion people are on Facebook. If you break it down state by state by state, you're looking really between a 55 to 65% penetration rate when it comes to Facebook overall. It's a fantastic marketing tool. That's how we look at it as a marketing tool, not necessarily on the social aspects, organic aspects. We look at it purely as a marketing tool. So how do we leverage that? Like I said, at the beginning, once you get to know your best buyers, you go out and buy a list. Once you have that list, make sure on that list, you purchase their phone numbers as well, either phone number or email address. If you can purchase one of those, you can go to Facebook and you can upload that list to Facebook through phone numbers or email addresses, and Facebook will match up individuals on Facebook that have that phone number or that specific email address. And so now what happens is when you send them a direct mail piece, you set up ads for these people to see once they receive that direct mail piece. So what will happen, you send this direct mail piece, it's going to hit on Thursday. You start creating ads that will start on Thursday. And once Thursday comes, is they can really start to see the results, and they'll be able to see your branding in front of them. They'll get this direct mail piece, interact with it for 10, 15, 20 seconds. Next time they log on to Facebook, they'll see your ad. Magically, it'll just kind of appear. And so that's a huge impact. We talked about the different touch points you have to have, 7 to 9 really anymore. This is another touch point that you have with them. Is the moment they get the direct mail piece, the next time they get struck by Facebook, your ads pop up. And it is huge. So this right here is one of the big components behind how you take that ROI from 1 to 3% all the way up to 15 to 20 to 30%. Because once you do that, once they start seeing your ads, once they click on an ad, then you start retargeting them everywhere they go. Retargeting. What I mean by that is exactly this. You got my mug over there on the side. I go to a website to check out an upcoming event that's taking place. Once I'm off that website, so this could be maybe I go to your website from that direct mail piece, or maybe actually I don't go to your website. I go to Facebook. I see your ad on Facebook. I click on that ad and go to your website. But once I go onto your website, regardless how I get there, we start retargeting you. Is it now you go to Google, I see your ad. You go to local news source, and it's local newspaper source in your community, local bloggers in your community, CNN, ESPN, Fox News, any of those that if you have a big enough budget, you can actually get ad space on. But they start seeing your ads again and again. They go back to Facebook, they see your ad, your targeted ad. They go to check out to see if it's supposed to storm today, if it's golfing weather. They'll see your ad. They'll see it consistently again and again and again and again. So that's what we're talking about retargeting. Here's all the touch points. The old school way, the old way they used to do direct mail is you'd send it out, they would get the postcard, they would get the envelope. That was your one piece of interaction, that was it. With this, literally within 30 days, they can have 6 to 7 to 10 to 12 different interactions with you, simply because they received a direct mail piece from you. Then they happen to go on Facebook, which they do anyway, saw your ad, clicked on your ad, and now you start retargeting them again and again and again. So that's the huge key behind this and leveraging what you got. So you start on Facebook, take a look at local news sites. There's literally hundreds or thousands you could buy into. Even not the local news sites, but more of the national news sites. Again, CNN.com. is you can buy ad space on there. And it's not ad space for everybody. The only people who will ever see that are the ones that happen to have been on your site before. You go through Google, go through blogs that you read, it's be all around them. So now that you have that direct mail piece, you've defined your best buyers, you know the lifetime value, you've sent out that direct mail piece, they've seen you on Facebook, they've gone to your website, you're around them again and again and again and again. The big thing is, how do you gauge your ROI? At the end of the day, how do you know if it's a success or not? Like I said, the very first step you do is you buy a list. That list, let's just call it 1,000 names. On that list there's the 1,000 people you've sent the stuff out to. At that point in time, you simply check off the mail list. You know, do they come in and were they a client? Do they make contact with you? And I guess it's not necessarily just the client, but they email you, do they call you, do they walk in? Again, it's your job to sell them at the end of the day. But you just look at the list of names, and it's as simple as yes or no. Did they come in? Do they make contact with you? Yes or no. And that's how you start gauging the results you're able to get. You factor in the lifetime value over the next 3 years. So if out of those 1,000 people, say you got 200 of them as clients, each person is worth $1,000. That's $200,000 that are in your pocket now at this point in time. The lifetime value is that true ROI. Again, not that dollar in today, the dollars you're going to spend with you over the next 3 years. So the whole goal is to get them in the door, then you must close them from there. So let's go through some case studies. I know we're kind of running up against some time, and so I'll be short on some of these. Marcus has some things to kind of tell you here towards the end as well. We have an IT consultant. Let me go into another component, a dentist, because again, I know a lot of you on here are medical based, is with the dentist. What we did is we targeted 600 people. The total community size was 2,500, but we did not go after 2,500 because they weren't our best buyers. We went after 600. They were moms, certain age demographics, certain income levels. And the reason is, once the mom comes in, she brings in the kid and it helps influence the significant other as well. So what we did for the very first direct mail piece, we gave them a free toothbrush. It didn't cost much. Actually, it was co-branded. One of the big brands were able to send out these toothbrushes with our dentists, their brand owner as well. But it didn't really cost them too much. So sent out 600 people, 600 toothbrushes, 600 people. And that was the first piece. They followed up over the next couple of months with a couple of postcard pieces. And that last one, we sent them out another toothbrush. So in theory, they literally could be using this product on a daily basis. So what happened is that we'd be able to, once they start off with that, we'd start retargeting. We'd get them set up on Facebook. They'd start seeing these ads again and again and again and again. For this dentist, the ROI was over 141%. They came to us like, hey, we want to send out a direct mail piece to 2,500 people. Well, we knew that a lot of people we were sending out to were just not good buyers. So we took that list down, cut it down by about 75%. So that alone saved a bunch of costs. You're not paying $2,500 or printing fees for 2,500 people, postage fees for 2,500 people. It's broken down just to those 600. So you can see you'd be spending less, but potentially getting your ROI up there a ton. On the mechanic side of it, is that we purchased a list. We know BMW owners, Mercedes owners, Lexus owners. We know those owners because obviously they got to register their vehicle to DMV. And so what we did is we sent out direct mail pieces to all these owners. It's like, hey, you own a BMW. The years were between 5 years old to 14 years old. It's like, hey, here's some things to consider. Here's how you want to take care of your car, after the first 5 years. Here's some things that you can do yourself to prevent you from having to come into a mechanic. So we gave them some great value, some real good value pieces. And again, we hit them up 4 times. You're supposed to come in for those nicer cars for an oil change, really every 8 to 10 months, depends on the age of the car. So we hit them over an 8-month period of time. And the results of the first mailer paid for the entire campaign. So everything else that we did, second mailer, third mailer, fourth mailer, advertising on Facebook, throughout everything else, it paid for the campaign. And so it worked out extremely, extremely well. So the big takeaways, and this is what you can start doing and really start optimizing. And really this afternoon, you can start thinking small. Who is your best buyers? What do they look like? What's their characteristics? But really define that. Then take a look at leveraging Facebook. And once they start on Facebook, they go elsewhere. Then you gauge the ROI off of lifetime value. You got to just look at your numbers. You should know the average patient that walks in the door, the average person that brings a car to you, whatever it may be. You should know what that average person is worth to you over an extended period of time. Give them value, not just, hey, I'm great, I'm amazing, I'm cool. Give them some value as you go through it. Start retargeting be in front of them again and again and again and again. You don't have to spend a lot of money to retarget. That's a powerful tool behind it. Be absolutely everywhere they are, and again, be consistent. And with this program, it becomes really easy to become consistent. And you can see that, again, the impact it can make on your business is if you're consistent with this, you're doing some of this already. There's a good chance you're doing some direct mail. There's a decent chance you're doing some online marketing. Might as well combine the two to really leverage as a sales component what this can bring to you at the end of the day. So what we want to do, we have a 4-week training workshop. This is for the people that want to have kind of that hand-holding, want to work side by side along with this for this 4-week workshop, going through this. So on week number 1, what we do for people is we'll walk you through the best buyer profiles. You know, it's a small group that we have when we hold these classes. We're looking at 10 to 12 people tops. And the reason behind that is it allows us to get to know each one of those 10 to 12 people pretty intimately. So we can help address their issues individually with the best buyers as well as future classes as well. So the second week, then we talk about once we have the best buyers set up, and we also talk about lifetime value then. We take a look at secrets and templates to provide proven direct mail pieces. We'll show you examples of what we've done. We have some templates set up that we can send your way as well. We'll show you and walk you through all this. Then the third week, we talk about targeting on Facebook. How do you set up Facebook ads? How do you upload your list? How do you hit these people again and again and again and again? And the fourth week is retargeting. How do you retarget these people until they make a buying decision? How does that look? What resources do we use? What do the ads look like? How do we say it? How can you get ads for retargeting done for as little as $5 or $10? And we'll show you those secrets. We'll show the secret to you. How do you buy a list for $150 to $200 instead of $600 to $1,000? And so we'll go through all this. It's a free 4-week training workshop. It's a 4-week training workshop. A lot of people will be able to take this workshop we just had over the last 45 minutes and take some of this and start rolling with it. Because some of you have started doing some of these things independently currently. For many of you, though, we want to have more of a workshop, more of a hand-holding as we go through this, and very customized approach. So we do have that 4-week training workshop. Now, with that being said, is that we'll turn it over to Marcus, and he'll kind of go through the details and absolutely how this looks, how this works, and all those details. And again, I understand that we're running close to time. So, you know, just give us about another 7 minutes or so, and we'll be able to really go through this and start answering some of those questions for you as well.
Yeah, you've got some options. You know, your first option, you can hire Mally Academy and our staff. We're going to visit you, learn your business, and we're going to create your own direct mail digital system and run it for you. And then we're just going to hand over those customized templates so you can implement additional campaigns. That's going to cost you $12,000 plus your ad spend. Your second option, option 2, is hire Mally Academy. Also, its sister agency, Mally Marketing, do it completely in-house, start to finish. That's going to be $4,600 plus ad spend. Option 3, your best option, join the Mally Academy Direct Mail to Digital Training Workshop, and you're going to learn all our advanced strategies direct from Steve and myself. You're probably going to be concerned that the Digital Direct Marketing Workshop is going to cost you a small fortune, and it really should. You know, the Direct Mail to Digital Workshop has already helped 221 small businesses achieve closings of millions in additional revenue. Now, I'm going to get to the price in just a few moments. First, I want to share with you just a few more unique benefits that this one-of-a-kind workshop is going to deliver. We're going to teach how to avoid wasting thousands in direct mail costs by only mailing to the specific people that have a proven track record of being interested in your product or service. You're going to enjoy having that templated, proven system doing the heavy lifting for you and taking out the guesswork. We're also going to reveal specifically how to take your direct mail list and upload it to Facebook, and how it's going to massively leverage return on a direct mail campaign. Plus, I'm not going to go into details here, but it's actually one of my favorite strategies where you can take your current list of clients and learn how to replicate them to find more buyers exactly like them. Okay, exactly like that. You're also going to discover some marketing firms' biggest lies you've got to avoid if you want to achieve the success you want. And that's going to be that cheat sheet that you downloaded. Plus, we're going to unlock the secret of where to buy those highly targeted lists for a fraction of the cost that most firms want to charge you. Now, the price of this digital to direct mail workshop by itself is $1,997. That price isn't for you today. I'll explain why in just a moment. Just for watching this entire presentation today, just for sticking with us, I'm going to give you 2 value-added bonuses free of charge, just to help you increase your marketing ROI just even faster. The first gift you're going to receive is our package of Best Buy direct mail templates that shows exactly how to target your absolute best buyers and serve direct marketing campaign. It's going to save you hours, hundreds of hours, and thousands in design fees. That's normally $797. We're going to give it to you free today. Second gift you'll get is access to our Facebook group page. You can connect with others in the Mali Academy community, leverage their successes, learn from their mistakes in their marketing activities. Normally sell access to that group for $698. Again, yours free today. So now you kind of get the picture as to why the Direct Mail Digital Workshop, has a value of $1,997. Add in those bonuses, the retail value clips up to $1,997 plus that $797 plus that $698. That gets you $3,492. Again, just for watching this presentation today, I've got a much better deal coming. So just keep watching just for a couple more minutes. It won't be available after we finish this webinar today, okay? It's not going to be half of that $3,492, not even $1,246 today. Only from this presentation, your total investment in the Direct Mail to Digital Workshop, including all those bonuses I just mentioned, it's only going to be $997. Again, just today. Now take a look. I believe it's to the left of the video, and you should see the chat video. The chat function should pop up, and there should be a link on there where you can click, and that'll take you to where you can join the Mali Academy and get onto this 4-week training course. Click on that link, and you can get that $997 price today only. Now, before you go any further, I want you to try this on me. You don't have to make a decision right now. I do want you to take advantage of my triple guarantee. I want you to try the Direct Mail to Digital Workshop on me for the first 2 full classes, okay? First 2 full classes. If you don't learn the secret to finding buyers exactly like your current clients, or if you don't find our service and attention superb, or even if you don't like my cool accent, no worries. We'll refund every single penny that you invested today, okay? No questions asked, no hassles, no hard feelings. So take a look to the left of the video. You should see that link where you can click on that and get that discounted price locked in, okay? I've got something else for you, just one extra thing. If you act right now before this presentation ends, I'm going to include a super bonus for you, okay, worth an additional $125, absolutely free. You're going to get a free 30-minute phone call, free 30-minute phone consultation with the expert Steve Malley sitting next to me. He's going to discuss your current marketing strategies with you and go over your current plan. That brings your total value to over $3,617, okay, just for $997. So go ahead, click on that link to the left, and you'll get the entire Direct Mail to Digital Workshop package for just $997. So when you click on that link, here's what you can expect, okay? You'll be taken to our 100% secure checkout page. And it's that simple. Remember, you're going to get your first bonus, the do-it-yourself templates. Bonus number 2, exclusive access to our Facebook community. You're going to get a triple money-back guarantee. And, of course, you're going to get that super bonus, which is the best of them all. I think that 30-minute consultation with Steve. And he'll talk to you direct and live on the phone with you about your current marketing plan and where you can take it. So immediately after you buy today, we're going to add you to that Facebook community so you can immerse yourself immediately in the Direct Mail to Digital Workshop. Then you need to head over to www.maliacademy.com, Best Buyers Guide. Download that Best Buyers Guide template so you can discover what your clients are shouting to share with you, okay? This will ensure you get started right away. Make sure you get started really quickly. So, by joining our community, download the Best Buyers Guide template today. It's going to help you get off on the right foot so you can really start getting maximum results in your direct mail efforts, okay? So remember, along with making that decision to change your business for the better today, you're going to be receiving the bonus 1, the do-yourself templates. Bonus 2, exclusive access to that Facebook community, that triple money-back guarantee, and of course, the super bonus, and it really is super bonus, that 30-minute phone consultation with Steve, okay? So go ahead and click on that link, and let's get you started, okay?
Now, we might have a couple of questions. I told you to try to keep this to an hour, so we're going over just a little bit here at this point. If you do have questions, feel free to email them to me, steve@maliacademy.com. I'd be more than happy to answer any questions you have there. There's a couple of things that always pop up, so I'll address those real quickly, then we'll bounce off. One of the top things is, well, I don't know if I have much time for a new system, a different system. The big thing is 2 things. 1, you're probably already doing decent chunk of this. You might already be doing some online advertising. You might already be doing some digital mail. It's simply showing you a better process, and it could save you some time. The other aspect of it is that you're probably wasting a bunch of money right now. And just the money that you save alone by some of the tips and tricks that we give you is going to save you not only the cost of the class, but just save you, period, and add that back into profit into your company at the end of the day. So that's one of the big questions always pop up. Two, time commitment. It's about an hour each week that we go through this. Very individualized. Once you get into our group, you can ask us questions throughout the week as well. We'll even take a look at exactly what you're doing. So it's not one of those things that you join this group with 100 other people at a time. We give you individual attention on this. So we can really kind of walk you through, see what you're doing, take a look at your direct mail pieces, do some critiques. So again, we're all on the same page and can start expecting the results that we're taking a look at as well. So there's a couple of big questions that we have. Again, if you want to sign up, we have that link over to the chat feature on the left-hand side. Click on that link, you can get signed up, get involved. If you have any additional questions, feel free to reach out to me. I'm not an attorney. I am not going to send you an unexpected bill for a question for $250. Just send me an email, Steve@Mali Academy, M-A-L-Y Academy. I'd be more than happy to answer any questions that you have. So again, I appreciate the time, and I appreciate the efforts you guys going through with us, and we'll definitely talk soon.